Generic terms are used in dementia units which give very little credit to what a dementia resident has to face and bear on admission. Take the term settle. Your relative needs to have some medication in order for them to settle. It's best not to visit for the first 1 or 2 weeks in order for them to settle, as if it's unnatural to be unsettled in what is a very unsettling environment. But what a dementia resident does have to face, a very hard fact, is that they are in the facility for memory loss reasons. It does need to be explained. Otherwise, they can think that you're divorcing them, that they're in jail. For any other number of reasons, they can think, well, why am I incarcerated in this place? So it needs to be explained empathetically, diplomatically, lovingly, why it is that in the facility. Then from that point on, full support needs to be given. You know, the person needs to know you're not divorcing them, you're there for them, you're going to support them right through, and explain everything to them that they need to know, help them with orientation, to the place, to their room, get the room comfortable, etc., etc. Now, also it's important to give the person the time to work through their feelings and emotions, because they'll be rampant, won't they? You know, it's such an emotional time. And for this, as a relative, you need to be strong, stable, firm, so that you can sit there with your partner, with your mother, with your relative, and work through each and every single feeling, emotion, process that the person needs to go through in order for them to be able to settle naturally. Answer any questions, orientate them to what's needed, etc. Because they need a listening ear. They need to work through it with someone, this momentous process. So along with that, of course, if you can introduce walking and visits and trips and good quality visits and lots of time together, all of that helps enormously, but not to shy away from the fact that they are in a facility because of memory loss. Now, initially this needs to be explained. What often happens though from the initial point onwards is that the residents themselves tend to call the facility a nursing home rather than a dementia unit, because it doesn't have the stigma attached to it. Of course, that's fine for elderly people. Some of them even saying, oh, well, we all go to nursing homes when we're older, don't we? So that way they accept it in a sense that it's generic for the elderly people. Of course, that's a lot more difficult for someone that's younger. So it does need to be explained to the younger resident. They're in the facility because they're not managing at home. You're not managing to be able to help them in the level that's needed at home. And because of present memory loss, the safety issues, etc., they need to be in such a facility, which is much harder when someone's younger compared to if they're older, especially if they've been in a nursing home or the retirement village prior. Then they've gone through a lot of those integration processes. But a younger person, always more difficult. So give the time. Repeat versions if necessary. Certainly there'll be repeated questions, repeated versions, repeated everything because of recent memory loss. But it's important for the person to be able to work through it. Otherwise, if they don't, it becomes suppressed, repressed, and then it can either become volatile, up with anger and the threat of medication with that, or the sink into depression. So it's a big journey, especially initially when the person first comes into the unit. There's a lot to work through. So be prepared for that. And if you can work through the first 3 months, you know, with everything that's been described in these videos and in this book, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, you'll find it a lot easier. So thank you for your looks and your views. Please subscribe.